In our headlines on this Tuesday afternoon, February 7th, Turkiye is reeling from the aftermath of a deadly earthquake that hit the country in the wee hours of Monday, killing and injuring thousands. Meanwhile, Pyongyang is preparing to stage a military parade to mark the 75th founding anniversary of its army amid tensions over its provocations. And Seoul's Environment Ministry has put in place emergency fine dust reduction measures amid an ultra-fine dust advisory in many regions nationwide. We begin in the Middle East with news that continues to develop as rescue workers race against time to search for survivors of a catastrophic quake in Turkey and Syria on Monday that has taken the lives of at least 4,300 people thus far. Our Shin Ha-young has the latest.
A devastating earthquake in Turkey on Monday has killed thousands both in Turkey and neighboring Syria, with the death toll expected to continue to rise over the coming days and weeks as search and rescue operations continue. The WHO predicts that the final death toll could rise to over 20,000. The situation was made all the more devastating as an initial 7.8 magnitude quake was followed by a 7.4 magnitude earthquake. Reports of aftershocks magnitude 4 and above were also reported throughout Turkey. According to Euro-Mediterranean Seismological Center, another earthquake of 5.3 magnitude hit central Turkey on Tuesday. In response to the deadly quakes, the EU's Emergency Response Coordination Center announced Monday that it's sending rescue teams to help with the search and rescue efforts, with teams from the Netherlands and Romania already on their way. European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, also pledged assistance for Turkey. Meanwhile, the IAEA says no damage to Turkey's Akku nuclear power plant has been reported, but says safety checks are currently being taken. The nuclear plant, which is still under construction, has not reported any issues related to radiological safety or the security of radioactive sources. The IAEA added that extensive diagnostic measures will be taken to make sure that construction and installation operations can continue safely. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
And in related news, the government here has also pledged to send relief workers and medical supplies to Turkey. President Yoon Suk-yeol earlier on Tuesday called for the prompt dispatch of necessary equipment and assistance while highlighting the importance of close contact with authorities in Turkey. Taking to Twitter, he also shared his condolences with all those affected, adding that South Korea stands ready to help in any way possible, referring to a relationship with Turkey that was forged in blood during the Korean War. Over in the U.S., the senior general who had overseen the shooting down of an alleged Chinese surveillance balloon this past weekend has admitted that the military there had failed to detect previous intrusions and had learned about them later. Our foreign affairs correspondent Pei Eun-ji has more.
A senior U.S. Air Force general responsible for bringing down a Chinese spy balloon said its military had a, quote, domain awareness gap that allowed other suspected Chinese spy balloons to transit the continental U.S. undetected. The head of U.S. North American Aerospace Defense Command and Northern Command, Glenn Van Hark, was speaking in a press briefing on Monday local time, but did not provide details on previous balloons, including where over the United States they flew. His remarks come after the Pentagon had said over the weekend that Chinese spy balloons had briefly flown over the U.S. at least 3 times during Donald Trump's presidency and once before during the current administration. Van Hark added that the U.S. determined the previous flights after the fact based on additional means of collection of intelligence, without offering further details. The senior U.S. general added the latest balloon was up to 200 feet, or about 60 meters tall, and carried a payload weighing over 900 kilograms. He did not rule out the possibility that there could have been explosives on the balloon, but also said he did not have any evidence of it either. But he added that risk was a factor in planning to shoot down the balloon over open water. On Saturday, the U.S. shot down the suspected spy balloon using an F-22 Raptor fighter jet, supported by multiple fighters and refueling aircraft. But China strongly condemned the military strike, saying that the balloon was used for meteorological and other scientific purposes. Heung-min, Arirang News.
In his first public appearance of the year, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called on the regime's military to bolster its war readiness. The North Korean state-run media reported on Tuesday that Kim presided over a meeting of the regime's Central Military Commission on Monday, during which he pledged to expand combat drills and perfect the country's preparedness for war. The meeting comes just a few days after Pyongyang condemned air drills by the U.S. and its allies, saying the drills threaten to turn the Korean peninsula into a more critical war zone. The meeting marks Kim Jong-un's first public appearance since the last day of 2022, when he unveiled a nuclear-capable, super-large, multiple-launch rocket system. And the North Korean capital city appears to be preparing for a military parade this week to mark the 75th founding anniversary of its army. Pundits believe the regime will have on display its latest weaponry. Our Defense Ministry correspondent Oh Soo-young reports.
All signs point to a large-scale military parade in Pyongyang set for Wednesday, as North Korea celebrates the 75th founding anniversary of its army on February 8th. Since December last year, North Korea observers like NK News have reported movements preparing for a massive parade with a display of the regime's latest weapons.
They will use the occasion to show off some of their latest artilleries or weapon systems that they have been flaunting about for months and weeks now, especially the one that Kim Jong-un recently mentioned starting off the year, which was the 600 millimeter multiple rocket launcher that North Korea is claiming that is aimed at carrying tactical nuclear weapons and aimed at South Korea.
In particular, the North is largely expected to flaunt its Hwasong-17 intercontinental ballistic missile with updated capabilities. 38 North's image analysis last month showed a covered object roughly the size of the Hwasong-17 at a military parade training ground. While the ICBM was first unveiled at a parade last April, North Korea has since tested a solid-fuel rocket engine, which could be fitted to the missile for the upcoming event. Other advanced weapons and technology prioritised by the North's 5-year plan for national defence, such as drones, hypersonic missiles and reconnaissance satellites, could also appear in Kim Il-sung Square. The North's growing weapons capability raises concerns of a provocation in the near future. Following the more than 30 missile launches conducted by Pyongyang last year and its self-professed nuclear prowess, South Korea and the US have agreed to tighten their alliance and hold more large joint military drills, including the tabletop exercises that practice nuclear scenarios. Pyongyang has threatened to respond proportionately, so the question is when.
I can think about the three major events. One is the state founding, the 70th anniversary of victory in the Great Fatherland Liberation War, they say, and also the founding anniversary of the Korea People's Army, and the state founding anniversary, which is going to happen in February, July, and September. So these timings will be important for them.
Likely to take place during the night to maximize the optics, the upcoming parade will be interpreted by observers as a message from the Kim Jong-un regime and indicate the trajectory of its foreign policy. US State Department spokesperson Ned Price said Monday that Washington will be observing the parade and that the North's parade is likely to have more propaganda value than material value. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
The air quality here in Korea remains poor as fine dust continues to hover above. Authorities are taking relevant response measures and are calling on people with health issues to refrain from outdoor activity. Our Song Yoo-jin has more.
Murky skies blanket South Korea on Tuesday. The National Institute of Environmental Research predicts the fine dust level will hit bad levels in the capital area, Chungcheongdo and Jeollado provinces, and Daegu City. Based on the Korea Meteorological Administration classifications, that means those areas will have fine dust concentrations of between 81 and 150 micrograms. An ultra-fine dust advisory has also been issued to the city of Incheon as well as Gyeonggi-do, Chungcheongbuk-do, and Jeollabuk-do provinces on Tuesday morning, with these areas seeing large amounts of ultra-fine dust particles, which are smaller than 2.5 micrometers in diameter. The Environment Ministry attributes this to a combination of air stagnation and smog coming from neighboring China. The ministry has deployed emergency fine dust reduction measures for the capital area and Sejong City for 2 straight days. They'll be in effect from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tuesday. Under these measures, large-scale dust emitters such as coal power plants and construction areas must adjust or reduce their operation hours. The driving of Grade 5 diesel cars, the lowest of the country's 5 tiers of emissions standards, will be banned. Water wagons and de-dusting cars will clean roads more frequently. And senior citizens or those with respiratory illnesses should refrain from going out and are advised to wear a mask if they go outdoors. But skies should clear from Wednesday afternoon. 송유진, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, over at the Parliament, the Q&A session on state affairs of the Yoon administration by lawmakers here earlier on Monday brought last October's crowd crush in Itaewon back to the forefront. Our Lee Si-hoo explains.
South Korea's National Assembly on Monday afternoon kicked off its first parliamentary questioning session of 2023. During the question and answer session, set to last for 3 days until Wednesday, the nation's rival lawmakers are grilling government officials on a wide range of topics. Monday's session focused on political and diplomatic matters as well as security and unification. Lawmakers quizzed the Prime Minister, the Foreign Minister, and the Interior and Safety Minister, among others. Some key questions for the day included South Korea's strategies with North Korea as well as the government's follow-up measures to the Itaewon crowd crush that took away 159 lives late last year. The main opposition Democratic Party, which earlier in the day introduced an impeachment motion against Interior Minister Heung-min for an alleged lack of appropriate response, continued discussing the matter.
An impeachment motion has been submitted to the National Assembly today. How do you feel?
I will share more details once it's more organized.
Once the motion is passed by Parliament, the Constitutional Court will review the decision to see whether the official in question has violated the Constitution or law. During the questioning, the ruling People Power Party took the time to ask the Prime Minister whether a violation of law had been confirmed.
Did you find any violations of law by the Interior Minister?
What I know is that there aren't any, according to the report by the Special Investigation Unit.
In regards to the matter, the presidential office on Monday said that it is inappropriate for the office to share its stance on the topic as the parliamentary processes are taking place at the National Assembly. However, the office did say that if carried out, impeachment could set a bad precedent as they should be reserved for when there's a significant violation of the Constitution or law. As for the parliamentary questioning, its Tuesday session will cover economic issues. Wednesday's session will focus on education, society, and culture. Lee Si-hoo, Arirang News.
A growing number of businesses here are embracing practices that support a circular economy. Our Arirang tells us what this means.
Bringing spent resources back to life. It's part of the so-called circular economy, one of South Korea's main areas of focus this year. This concept is different from a linear economy, which is a process of using resources, creating a product, and disposing of it after use. A circular economy gives a product greater value by sharing, leasing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, or recycling it rather than simply trying to reduce waste. This kind of system is helpful for achieving the target of net zero, as the Korea Environmental Industry and Technology Institute say. More than 9 billion tons of carbon dioxide can be cut by 2050 through a circular economy. One global information technology services and consulting company also reported $4.5 trillion worth of economic value could be created by 2030 if a circular economy is adopted. Now, retail industries are putting it into action.
I'm wearing McDonald's new uniform. What's special about this jacket? It has filling made out of this recycled plastic lids.
From the start of February, employees have been wearing eco-friendly uniforms. The fabric is made from recycled plastic bottles, while McDonald's lids are transformed into recycled thermal fillers.
We've been trying to reduce plastic by adopting strawless lids for the first time in the industry. The eco-friendly jacket too is one of our activities to support the circular economy in society.
One major retailer, too, sells bags that are made from recycled plastic banners, which had already been made from recycled plastic bottles. It takes 10 plastic bottles to make 1 square meter of banner, which cuts 354 grams of carbon dioxide compared to not using recycled materials. One expert says in order to make society more circular, goals should be more specific.
The government's goal is still vague. Instead of forcing companies to increase the use of recycled resources to 30% by 2030, they should specify what kind of resources should be used for what. This can lead to a practical investment for companies.
He added individual consumers, too, should question why waste occurs in the process of consumption. By asking these questions and finding solutions, he said it could also contribute to making society go zero waste. 이래현, Arirang News.
In other news, Chinese sports newspaper Titan Sports has named South Korea's Son Heung-min as Asia's top footballer for the 6th straight year. After receiving over 26% of the votes, the Chinese outlet on Monday selected Son as the winner of the 2022 Asian Golden Globe Awards. The latest selection also gives the South Korean national team captain his 8th overall career award. Now, the award was established in the year 2013, inspired by the much-renowned Ballon d'Or, the annual football award presented by French news magazine France Football. The number of Netflix users here in Korea hit a record high last month. According to WiseApp, a database market intelligence service on Monday, the number of subscribers to the online streaming service in January here amounted to 12.8 million people, the highest ever. Total usage time also rose by 24% during the same period. Now, analysts link the surge in users to the popularity of the Korean drama The Glory, which ranked in Netflix's top 10 in over 34 countries. In fact, the number of users in January was up 15% compared to November, before the Korean drama was released.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the world now. Over the Latin American skies, a second suspected spy balloon has been claimed by China. According to China's foreign ministry on Monday, local time, the balloon mistakenly entered the region after being blown off its original course. The ministry added that the balloon is a civilian aircraft used for flight tests. It was first spotted on Friday and was deemed not to be a threat by Colombia's Air Force. The development comes after another Chinese balloon, spotted floating over the U.S. mainland last week, was shot down by U.S. fighter jets on Saturday local time. China called the shooting down an overreaction and said it was a weather balloon that had accidentally gone off course. But U.S. investigators said the balloon carried equipment that is not normally used for meteorological observation or civilian research. China has denied allegations of spying. Moving over to the tech sector now, as Dell Technologies looks set to lay off over 6,500 employees. That's roughly 5% of the firm's workforce. The announcement came through a regulatory filing made on Monday, citing a challenging global economic environment as the reason for the layoffs. Dell has also struggled with falling demand for personal computers and laptops. Up until now, the company had looked to avoid letting people go by reducing travel, freezing external hiring, and cutting outside services spending. But Dell says those measures are no longer enough. The latest redundancies are part of a range of staff cuts by major tech firms, including Google and Amazon. Meanwhile, in sports, the English Premier League has charged Manchester City with more than 100 breaches of its financial rules. According to a statement by the EPL on Monday, local time, Manchester City has been referred to an independent commission. The football club has been accused of not giving accurate financial information between 2009 and 2018. Some of the charges relate to club revenue and how managers were paid. The club has also been accused of not cooperating with the Premier League since 2018, when the investigation began. If City is found guilty, the club could be given fines, a points deduction, or even be suspended from the league. Manchester City has expressed surprise at the charges, but believes there is irrefutable evidence that supports the club's position. And finally, Google has revealed its very own artificial intelligence chatbot. Called Bard, it is the tech giant's answer to the Microsoft-backed ChatGPT. According to Google on Monday, Bard was built on the firm's existing Lambda neural language model network. The artificial intelligence chatbot will be added to Google's search engines to answer more complicated questions. Bard has been available for testers since Monday and will be rolled out in the coming weeks. Matthew Ashley, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. West of Central regions are breathing in bad to very bad air as dust in the air has risen today, so keep your face mask on. We will be breathing in bad air through the rest of the day. And here are some ways to protect yourself against bad air. Drink plenty of water and wash your hands often, and try to avoid oil-based cooking at home on a day like today. But thankfully, the air quality will improve tomorrow. But we can't complain much about recent temperatures, though. It was a milder start to the day, and afternoon highs are also similar to yesterday, hovering way above the seasonal norms, leading to big gaps in readings between lows and highs. Double-digit highs for southern provinces again, while more clouds rolling in this afternoon with the east of Gangwon province to see light passing rain, which won't help much to ease the dryness in the air. Signs of spring continue with light precipitation in the forecast across Korea. With that in mind, here's a look at the weather conditions around the globe. And those are the headlines at this hour, but do stay with us for our panel session coming up right after this break. Thank you for now.